the Condé Nast present. It's good. Really good. And then we'll get started with the panel. And if you're cool. Or raise your hand if you have a question. Okay. Time. Yeah. No, not at all.
One works. How's everybody doing? Hi, Eileen O'Brien. I'm the director of Volunteers for the Denver Film Society. For those of you that are not don't know, who's so excited that we now own it. That happened to be called the C. About is now we get to see TV. And for those of you, raise your hand if you are an actor. Sibby, Kirsch Gessner. He's kind of up. Have a seat here. All right. Little shift to incredible resumes, and I wouldn't begin to try filmography on them. So themselves, their background, they got where they are today, if you don't mind. Okay.
Hey, can you guys hear me? Because I was saying when we were getting our picture, we're casting directors. We don't like to be in front of the camera. Sat across the day for 7 years. So in 2002, and I was working for Auntie Anne's. I called a friend of mine who's a writer and got me in touch with Dawson and him. And last known, we just cast a CBS half. You know, anything.
As long as it still looks good.
Your hair.
I've casting was a short version, so that stuck with. I grew up in. Oh yeah, there's proof to Los Angeles 10 years ago, and did Tuck, and then remember the Horror Story. And about a year and a half ago, I left there and started our own company and have been, we're, we now and a movie for Lifetime. Now I'm in Denver.
Saturday Night Live. One of the things I saw, all these people, wondering if you could just quickly speak to, but if you could speak to what it's like when you a look, do you think a casting that's a really specific that to try the right person for the right.
So if you're looking for, well, first of all, you producers about, or actors, a lot of you know this, but pointing what you're looking for. Do a list for the producers too. Like we'll come up with some different, and then we'll just say this is, we'll look for this. We'll look, we'll use some diversity. Bring you older than this? Can we bring you? And
it's like I should have had. We're all thinking, those of us that don't know how this works, that you might be the perfect person for that, or is it more complicated?
Hired for as our knowledge of actors, so we read something and people to mind. Of that is of us, and we've seen before and read in a play or anywhere.
How much time constraints matter to their
weeks.
Right. I was going to say it in a series and a film and
just because there's so much more at stake. Home like 8 or that long.
Right.
No, the Frontier. Oh, by the way, we're
really working on that one, but I had to after to do it in 2 weeks, or it no.
There
job.
was like, and I was also working on the mental story at the same time.
Happening that it was horrible.
And they did that time, but you'll read a lot more actors. Maybe like actors have to audition again for the studio executive, be tuning in where then do. I mean, some shows like
situation like that. I mean, is it just all nighter?
Sometimes there was one time when. Sorry, I'm
fun to get a same day audition.
Too.
Doing it either, but approved and get them hired and get after hours.
I once had to hire 3 actors. It was, I think, the season finale for the first Thanksgiving. New big roles that they told us about night. Shoot on Monday, session Wednesday morning. Go down to town. And actors are like, "Well, we don't know if they're actually going to want to work on Monday." And so, in Massachusetts, that we had sent this morning.
Did mom and dad was going on?
No, they were.
That roster that you have regulars, or the is really to me. So can you the process of how you males?
It's not where we enjoy. We need to know.
You're thinking about everyone in relationship.
And so if I'm watching something, who represents them and what else? And
I sort of start watching it, and then I'll do that with commercials. I do that for comedy, especially a lot of comedy. Why do I not?
Sandler did that. Who is this kid? He's hysterical.
And I of all the playbills, but when
we had people. I thought that film that we saw beforehand, to me, a little bit like it could give some help, especially in relationship to audition situation. Is there? I don't know. Is there any difference?
Is the job?
Yeah.
It's like if you. So and as it is for a guest star or a co-star, do is act, and so you need to do all that you can. Walk in there sort of as that person as much as you be done with it, and you walk out and you go, and next time.
Because either you're going to be.
People in the crowd, okay.
And it's like half being funny, but in that one, or if you're not, we're going to remember how great you were that time. We're going to keep bringing for others.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So. We also have a sign in our office that my business partner put together a couple years ago, Apology Zone, and it just says, this is a creative, and you don't need to apologize if you're, I have to say, it all over. It's about wanting you to succeed, for me, and I think you've always felt like this too. I think that you fail, and if I do it, so just come in and,
sign on our waiting room that says if you're wearing to smell like anything, but,
for what it's worth, because you're in close quarters, and
I people every
day
in your smell.
And now, panel. The platforms that everything comes, people look at. One of the things that was said, though, I thought that was really interesting, is, people are not watching technology. but other ways that you can see and be creative.
I mean, weights and that's so funny. I was just talking about her yesterday. Yeah. Anyway, they're changing comedy a little bit. It's on a project that was like 42, but now they're going to do a pilot. But they paid money, so we couldn't do it. But stuff like that, people will notice it. You notice it could.
Yeah, feel the same way.
The major talent agencies have people whose job is able, and we'll get agents pitching these people to us. A lot of people noticing. It's
like going to the doctor and having said. Yeah. So, because I heard that all the major he was used to. So, is it at the showrunner said, assembling is like casting because people together and work, play well in the sandbox, that kind of thing. Is into your world, or is it more together and get along and so I guess I'm your level of
no. And you're not going to, and you'll have different people, but you just never know, and everybody's going to be on their they're going to be doing their absolute best. You don't know if it's a crap.
So
does it really?
Yeah, you never know.
And pray. I'm gonna have a question, and I'm going to read because it's really trying to do the series, and it gets paid.
It's whether into it. So, I mean, it depends where it shoots, and it was a good. Want to keep working with you, and the network liked you.
It's likely then. Yeah.
Yeah, but things happen and catch one. And
available, and it can happen, but that you did too, so you get a call and there's like
a lot of showrunners are the showrunner to run that show, and that
film students. Show business, and business is a bigger word than show, although it's down to sometimes just what's working. Do's and don'ts you'd like to remove to an audition for actors.
Well, don't smell. Well, we sort of learned late or super early on with to that because and Marley's our associate. They'll always be like, we're reading people from oh no. So I am like, I want it like that, but be as close to you. Don't wear. It's like there are people that come in chewing. It's like someone and then someone broke a chair in an audition that's still sitting.
Oh.
What?
Did they need to break this chair?
Oh my god.
But the chair broken. I don't throw it.
Right.
Difficult, or like you're a handful. Right. Not gonna. Or
students, and they said, give us your top 10. They're all thinking and he who you are is just as another here.
I didn't know how you guys felt about that.
The question is, a friend gives the casting directors
that because like a guest star or a co-star, that's crazy. You don't get paid that much to spend your money on a gift, and unless it was like a huge amount of work that we did
that we've cast before, and they have no idea who we even are. So just
necessary.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, how much value do you guys place on social media? The same role person has.
And does that affect any of their decisions?
It's never ever anything.
No,
I've ever
really.
Done.
Thing too, if you're talking about a star or a, I mean, that will say. Betty Lou Who here has I don't even have found me. But it could be a factor, our factor,
okay.
but level, phases.
Two different
and they may ask us to read someone who has the creator of the show, and you got.
Speaking of social media, be careful what you have out. I mean, an actor, if you want it kept private, I don't know,
It's like the same thing you would advise a young person for any other endeavor in the sense. But I like to work very hard at helping others in this field. You do a lot of workshops and such. I know usually principals are cast, but I'm saying sometimes they'll be a guest. Have you ever turned? That's a yes? Yes?
How often do you for casting director workshops?
do many workshops anymore. I did when I first switched to comedy workshops.
Gotcha.
Like get to I called in a lot of people from workshops, and I now I just like coaches classes, and I don't do it. And Paul, we met you at a workshop, right? And about the and
I kept tracking him,
and
and
he kept going and doing plays.
He kept finally.
He
finally
was in
came.
DC. He was
I know.
in,
He finally came back, and then I got to do the final. I do one. I only do them at one just because I like to spend more time. I like, and I'll bring in for stuff. They all kind of go to the. That on for the demo reel, I've made demo reels for a lot of them. These actors will do whatever it takes if we. So we, our sword many times.
Right.
There was a time we all loved, and Eric Dawson convinced that she was right for the part, and tried as hard as he could finally right. I don't know why he said that, but
That's dramatic.
That's our educate. But like, what? And so yeah.
And really speak. So it's not I had like a V8 moment that you a dog with.
they get eventually you might go double back.
So you really are out there being their ombudsman, a job to make it work for them. So the most beautiful thing I heard. You want to see, when they come into the, because you hear all these horror. Okay, enough about me.
To
There.
piggyback on that question, I'm just curious, if for someone, do you feel like you can
Win more easily.
Yeah.
one day that's how they go?
All, like Sibby said before, are all people that we would be happy with any of them. They pay.
We hired the wrong person. Go ahead and hire so and so, and I'm like,
Jeez.
and I told him, and he was like, really?
Time for one more question. There. Okay, number
Yep.
one is how would they handle is it association?
Well,
or
we're
union,
we're
or
union.
We're
the-
Teamsters.
I mean, obviously, budget is gonna influence level of actors. Also, it doesn't. It's all on. Obviously, it had Lisa Cholodenko, so I think some actors it doesn't. It's for some things it is about the money. And
So we have to another thing. Great things coming up. I went from the dumb point of view because I it was like